The camera glides through a seemingly pristine environment, all gleaming chrome and stark white walls. This isn't a hospital, despite the clinical aesthetic. It's something far more sinister. This is the heart of the Blackwood Institute, a black ops lab where morality is a forgotten relic and human life is merely a resource. The hum of powerful machinery permeates the air, a constant reminder of the twisted science being conducted within. We see scientists in sterile suits, their faces obscured by masks, moving with a detached efficiency. They are the architects of this nightmare, driven by ambition, ideology, or perhaps just a chilling lack of empathy. They monitor banks of monitors displaying vital signs, genetic readouts, and neurological activity, their eyes glinting with a disturbingly clinical interest. The camera focuses on a single room, glass-walled for observation, where a young man is strapped to a table that he's screaming. But his voice is muffled, barely audible above the hum of the machines. Wires snake across his body, feeding him a cocktail of experimental drugs and subjecting him to precisely calibrated electrical shocks. His muscles twitch and spasm uncontrollably. A scientist adjusts a dial, and the man's screams intensify, reaching a fever pitch before abruptly cutting off. He lies still, his body limp and unresponsive. For a moment, there's silence, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor. Then, slowly, his eyes snap open. They are no longer the eyes of a frightened young man. They are cold, vacant, devoid of emotion. He strains against the restraints, and with a sudden surge of strength, the metal buckles and snaps. He rises from the table, his movements stiff and unnatural. Like a puppet controlled by unseen strings, he flexes his hands, clenching and unclenching them, as if testing his newfound power. His breathing is shallow and raspy. The scientists observe him with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Subject 7 demonstrating enhanced strength and pain tolerance. One of them intones, his voice emotionless, administering Level 2 combat programming. On a nearby screen, a series of images flashes. Targets, weapons, combat scenarios. The subject stares blankly at the screen, his mind being forcibly rewired, his identity erased. He is no longer a person. He is a weapon. In another part of the lab, a different procedure is underway. A young woman, Anya, is submerged in a tank of murky fluid. Wires are connected to her temples, feeding directly into her brain. She's struggling, fighting against the invasive technology. But her movements are weak and futile. A voice echoes in her mind. A disembodied voice that seeks to control her thoughts, to break her will. Resistance is futile. The voice whispers, embrace the change. Become something greater. Anya grits her teeth, refusing to surrender. She clings to the last vestiges of her humanity, to the memories of her past, to the hope that somehow, someone will come to save her. She doesn't know who or how, but she refuses to let them break her spirit. The camera lingers on her face, a mixture of fear and defiance in her eyes, as the weaponization process continues. This is just a glimpse into the horrors within the Blackwood Institute, a place where innocent people are transformed into instruments of destruction, their lives stolen, their identities erased, and soon, Jason Statham will arrive to tear it all down. Anya's face, pale and drawn, is reflected in the murky water of the sensory deprivation tank. The invasive tendrils of the Blackwood Institute's technology burrow deep into her mind, attempting to rewrite her very being, to strip her of her identity and transform her into a mindless weapon. But beneath the surface, a fire still burns. A fierce resilience that refuses to be extinguished. We see flashes of her past, fragmented memories that flicker like dying embers. A childhood spent in the remote, snow-covered mountains of Chechnya. The rugged landscape mirroring the strength and determination forged within her. Her father, a stoic and weathered man, teaching her the skills of survival, the art of tracking, the importance of self-reliance. Her mother, a gentle soul, instilling in her a deep sense of empathy and compassion. These memories are her anchors, the foundations of who she is, the reasons she cannot surrender. There's a memory of a promise, whispered on a windswept mountainside, a promise she made to protect someone. A promise that now fuels her resistance. The face of the person she vowed to protect remains blurred, shrouded in shadow, but the weight of the promise is palpable. The scientists believe they can break her, reprogram her, turn her into a mindless killing machine. They see her as just another subject, another data point in their twisted experiments. But they underestimate the power of the human spirit, the unbreakable bond between memory, identity, and will. Even as the technology assaults her mind, attempting to erase her past, Anya fights back. She delves deeper into her memories, clinging to them with unwavering determination. She remembers the feel of the crisp mountain air on her skin, the warmth of her mother's embrace, the sound of her father's laughter. These memories are her weapons, her shields against the invasive forces that seek to consume her. There's a fleeting image of a man, his face obscured by darkness, but his presence radiating strength and determination, a figure from her past, a protector, a savior. The connection is vague, ephemeral, but it sparks a glimmer of hope within her. Could he be the one who will come for her? Could he be the one who will save her from this nightmare? The experiments intensify, pushing Anya to the brink of collapse. Her body trembles, her mind reels, but still, she refuses to break. She draws strength from the memories of her past, from the promise she made, from the faint hope that someone is coming to rescue her. Unbeknownst to her, that someone is already on his way. Jason Statham, a ghost from her past, a man burdened by guilt and driven by a relentless sense of duty. He is the key to her survival, the only one who can penetrate the walls of the Blackwood Institute and bring her out alive. The special connection between them, forged in the crucible of a shared past, will be the catalyst for a violent and explosive confrontation. But for now, Anya must hold on, must continue to fight, must believe that salvation is within reach. Her resilience is not just a testament to her inner strength, but a beacon that guides Statham through the darkness, leading him closer to her with each passing moment. The whispers of resistance is futile continue, but they are met with the unwavering strength of a woman who refuses to be broken. The rain lashes against the grimy windows of a dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Inside, shrouded in shadows, a figure moves with a quiet intensity. This is Shaw, a man carved from granite and regret, a former Special Forces operative haunted by the ghosts of missions past. His face, etched with the lines of countless battles and sleepless nights, is illuminated by the flickering glow of a laptop screen. For months, Shaw has been a phantom, a whisper in the digital wind, meticulously piecing together the puzzle that is the Blackwood Institute. He's tracked their funding, their personnel, their every move, uncovering a web of deceit and depravity that stretches to the highest echelons of power. He knows the layout of the facility, the security protocols, the weaknesses in their armor. He's been waiting for the right moment, the opportune time to strike. The laptop screen displays a satellite image of the Blackwood Institute, its sterile facade a stark contrast to the darkness that lurks within. Shaw zooms in on a specific section of the facility, a heavily guarded research wing. He knows that Anya is being held there, subjected to their twisted experiments. His connection to Anya is complex, a tangled web of duty, guilt, and a promise made years ago. During a covert operation in Chechnya, Shaw's team was tasked with extracting a high-value target, Anya's father, a scientist who had defected from the Russian government. The mission went sideways, resulting in a bloody firefight and the tragic loss of Anya's parents. Before her father died, he made Shaw promise to protect Anya, to ensure her safety. Shaw failed. He couldn't keep her safe then, but he damn well intends to keep her safe now. The weight of that broken promise has been a constant burden, fueling his relentless pursuit of the Blackwood Institute. He closes the laptop and rises to his feet, his movements fluid and precise. He's dressed in black tactical gear, his body a weapon honed to perfection. His eyes, cold and determined, reflect the storm brewing within him. He's not just a soldier anymore. He's a man on a mission, driven by a personal vendetta and a burning desire for redemption. He checks his arsenal. A silenced pistol, a combat knife, a collection of specialized gadgets designed to bypass security systems and neutralize threats. He moves with the efficiency of a seasoned professional, his every action deliberate and calculated. He picks up a worn photograph from a nearby table. It's a picture of Anya, taken years ago. She's smiling, her eyes filled with innocence and hope. Shaw stares at the photograph for a long moment, his expression softening slightly. He whispers a silent promise, a vow to bring her home, no matter the cost. He takes a deep breath and steps out into the rain-soaked night. The time for planning is over. The time for action has arrived. He is a one-man army, a force of nature unleashed upon the Blackwood Institute. He will tear down their walls, dismantle their operations, and rescue Anya from their clutches. He owes her that much. The rain washes over him, cleansing him of his doubts and steeling his resolve. Tonight, he becomes the storm. The perimeter of the Blackwood Institute is a fortress. High fences topped with razor wire, motion sensors, and armed guards patrolling with trained dogs. But Shaw is not deterred. He moves. Through the shadows like a wraith, his every step calculated. His senses honed to a razor's edge, he begins by disabling the perimeter cameras. Using a small, handheld device, he emits a focused EMP burst, frying the circuits of the cameras without alerting the guards. He moves quickly, silently, a ghost in the machine. Next, he bypasses the motion sensors. He studies the patterns of the patrols, identifying blind spots and exploiting weaknesses in their security. He uses his knowledge of the terrain to his advantage, utilizing natural cover and concealing himself in the shadows. He moves with the grace of a seasoned hunter, always one step ahead of his prey. He reaches the first fence. Instead of trying to climb over it, he uses a specialized cutting torch to create a small, discreet opening. He slips through the opening, careful to avoid the razor wire. On the other side of the fence, he encounters the first guard dog. The dog barks, alerting the other guards to his presence. Shaw acts quickly, throwing a specially designed flashbang grenade that disorients the dog without causing permanent harm. The guards converge on his location, their weapons drawn. Shaw engages them in hand-to-hand combat, his movements swift and brutal. He uses his knowledge of martial arts to disarm and incapacitate the guards with ruthless efficiency. He breaks bones, shatters joints, and silences his opponents without hesitation. He improvises weapons from his surroundings. He uses a discarded pipe as a bludgeon, a shard of glass as a cutting tool, and his own body as a battering ram. He turns the environment into his weapon, exploiting every advantage he can find. He reaches the main entrance to the facility, a reinforced steel door guarded by 2 heavily armed security personnel. He knows that he can't simply brute force his way through. He needs a plan, a way to outsmart his opponents. He observes the guards, studying their routines, their weaknesses. He notices that they are both distracted. Engrossed in a conversation, he uses this to his advantage. Creating a diversion that draws their attention away from the door, he throws a smoke grenade, creating a thick cloud of obscuring smoke. While the guards are disoriented, he uses a specialized breaching charge to blow open the door. He storms into the facility. His weapons blazing, he moves with a relentless determination, cutting down anyone who stands in his way. He is a force of nature, a whirlwind of destruction unleashed upon the Blackwood Institute. His tactical brilliance is on full display. He anticipates his opponent's moves, exploits their weaknesses, and uses the environment to his advantage. He is a master of stealth, hand-to-hand combat, and improvised weaponry. He is a one-man army, tearing through the security of the Blackwood Institute with ruthless efficiency. He's inside. Deeper inside the Blackwood Institute, the sterile corridors twist and turn, a labyrinth of deceit and scientific depravity. Shaw moves, cautiously, his senses on high alert, knowing that the true horrors of the facility lie ahead. He rounds a corner and comes face to face with his first significant obstacle. A hulking figure, a grotesque parody of a human being. This is Subject 12, a genetically enhanced guard, a failed experiment that has been repurposed for security duties. He's massive, his muscles bulging with unnatural strength, his eyes devoid of any trace of humanity. Scars crisscross his body, testaments to the brutal experiments he has endured. He moves with a jerky, unnatural gait, a Frankensteinian monster brought to life by the twisted science of the Blackwood Institute. Subject 12 lets out a guttural roar, a sound that echoes through the corridors, sending shivers down Shaw's spine. He charges, his movements surprisingly fast for his size. Shaw barely has time to react. The fight is brutal, a close-quarters dance of death. Subject 12's enhanced strength and resilience make him a formidable opponent. He shrugs, off punches that would have felled a normal man, his body seemingly impervious to pain. Shaw relies on his speed and agility, dodging Subject 12's attacks and countering with precise strikes to vulnerable areas. He targets the joints, the eyes, the throat, exploiting every weakness he can find. But Subject 12 is relentless, a seemingly unstoppable force of nature. Shaw uses his environment to his advantage. He lures Subject 12 into a confined space, restricting his movements and limiting his options. He uses the walls as leverage, launching himself at Subject 12 with devastating force. The fight escalates, becoming increasingly violent. Shaw's signature fighting style is on full display. A brutal combination of martial arts, street fighting, and improvised weaponry. He uses everything at his disposal, turning the environment into a weapon. He slams Subject 12's head against a metal console, throws him into a glass wall, and uses a discarded scalpel to slash at his exposed flesh. Subject 12 retaliates with savage blows, each punch carrying the force of a sledgehammer. Shaw is thrown against a wall. His body battered and bruised, he feels his ribs crack. His lungs burning. He knows that he can't sustain this for much longer. He reaches into his belt and pulls out a stun grenade. He throws it at Subject 12's feet and detonates it, momentarily incapacitating the monster. Shaw seizes the opportunity. He grabs a nearby metal pipe and charges at Subject 12. His eyes filled with a primal rage. He swings the pipe with all his might, striking Subject 12 in the head with a sickening thud. Subject 12 collapses, his body hitting the floor with a deafening crash. He lies still, unmoving. Shaw stands over him, his body trembling, his breathing ragged. He has barely won. He knows that this is just the beginning. The Blackwood Institute is full of horrors, and he will have to face them all if he wants to rescue Anya. He takes a deep breath, steels his resolve, and continues his journey deeper into the facility. The victory is costly, but it reinforces his determination. While Shaw fights his way through the physical defenses of the Blackwood Institute, Anya wages her own war from within. Released from the sensory deprivation tank, but still weakened and monitored, she's confined to a sterile holding cell. However, during her brief periods of lucidity, between experiments, she observes, she learns, she plans. One day, feigning compliance, she manages to gain access to a restricted area, a research lab where the scientists are compiling data and analyzing the results of their experiments. It's here that she discovers the horrifying truth. The Blackwood Institute isn't just creating enhanced individuals. They're building an army of super soldiers, genetically engineered and mind-controlled, ready to be deployed on a global scale. Anya is horrified. She realizes that she's not just fighting for her own survival. She's fighting to prevent a global catastrophe. She resolves to sabotage the project from within, to disrupt their plans and buy time for anyone, to stop them. Her opportunity comes during a shift change. While the scientists are distracted, she uses her knowledge of the lab systems to access a terminal. She begins to upload a virus, a carefully crafted piece of code designed to corrupt the data, disrupt the experiments, and shut down the facility's security systems. But her actions don't go unnoticed. Dr. Volkov, the head scientist, a man with a chillingly calm demeanor and a disturbing lack of empathy, detects the intrusion. He alerts the security personnel, and Anya is forced to flee. A tense cat-and-mouse game ensues. Anya uses her knowledge of the lab's layout to evade her pursuers, slipping through corridors, hiding in ventilation shafts, and utilizing her cunning and resourcefulness to stay one step ahead. She sabotages equipment, disrupts experiments, and releases other test subjects, creating chaos and confusion within the facility. She becomes a thorn in Dr. Volkov's side, a constant irritant that threatens to unravel his carefully laid plans. The security personnel are relentless in their pursuit, their determination fueled by Dr. Volkov's orders. They hunt her through the corridors, their weapons drawn, their eyes scanning every shadow. Anya knows that she can't outrun them forever. She needs to find a way to disrupt the project on a larger scale, to inflict significant damage that will cripple the Blackwood Institute's operations. She targets the main power grid, the lifeline of the facility. If she can shut down the power, she can disable the security systems, disrupt the experiments, and create a window of opportunity for someone to intervene. She fights her way to the power grid, engaging in desperate hand-to-hand combat with the security personnel who stand in her way. She uses her agility and her knowledge of pressure points to incapacitate her opponents, relying on her instincts and her determination to survive. She reaches the power grid and begins to sabotage the system, rigging explosives and disrupting the circuitry. But Dr. Volkov is closing in, his patience wearing thin. The hunt is on. Anya's sabotage buys Shaw precious time and creates vulnerabilities for him to exploit, all while raising the stakes. Shaw, bruised and battered but still relentless, continues his advance through the labyrinthine corridors of the Blackwood Institute. He knows that Anya's sabotage is buying him precious time, creating opportunities for him to exploit. He can sense the growing chaos within the facility, the rising tide of panic and confusion. His primary objective now is to reach the central security hub, the nerve center of the Blackwood Institute's surveillance and control systems. If he can disable the cameras, the alarms, and the lockdown protocols, he can further disrupt their operations and create a clear path to Anya. He follows Anya's digital breadcrumbs, disruptions in the network, deactivated sensors, and hastily bypass security checkpoints. He moves swiftly and silently, taking down any security personnel who stand in his way. He's a ghost, a predator, a force of nature that cannot be stopped. He reaches the entrance to the central security hub. A reinforced steel door guarded by a squad of heavily armed security personnel. He knows that a frontal assault would be suicide. He needs a different approach. He observes the guards, studying their movements, their patterns, their weaknesses. He notices that they are relying heavily on the security cameras, unaware that Anya has already compromised the system. He uses this to his advantage. He hacks into the security system and manipulates the camera feeds, creating false alarms and diversions that draw the guards away from the door. While the guards are distracted, he uses a specialized breaching charge to blow open the door. He storms into the security hub, his weapons blazing, his movements precise and deadly. The security hub is a high-tech control room, filled with rows of monitors displaying images from every corner of the facility. Technicians scramble to regain control of the system, their faces etched with panic. Shaw engages the technicians and the remaining security personnel in a fierce firefight. He uses his tactical skills and his superior weaponry to quickly eliminate the threats. He moves with a relentless determination, his every shot finding its mark. He reaches the main control panel and begins to disable the key systems. He shuts down the cameras, plunging the facility into darkness. He disables the alarms, silencing the warning sirens. He overrides the lockdown protocols, unlocking doors and creating a state of controlled chaos. The Blackwood Institute is thrown into disarray. Security personnel are disoriented and confused, unable to track Shaw's movements or coordinate their response. The scientists are frantic, their experiments disrupted, their carefully laid plans unraveling before their eyes. Shaw has successfully crippled the Blackwood Institute's security infrastructure, creating a window of opportunity to rescue Anya and expose their operations to the world. He knows that the clock is ticking, that he needs to find Anya and get her out of there before Dr. Volkov can regain control. He takes a deep breath, steels his resolve, and prepares to continue his mission. The central security hub is now his base of operations, his vantage point from which to launch his final assault. The chaos he has unleashed is both a weapon and a shield. Amidst the escalating chaos within the Blackwood Institute, one figure remains calm and collected. Dr. Volkov, the head scientist and the true architect of this nightmare. He observes the unfolding events from his private laboratory, his face betraying no emotion, his eyes cold and calculating. Dr. Volkov is not driven by greed or power, but by a chillingly detached scientific curiosity. He sees humanity as flawed, weak, and in need of improvement. He believes that through genetic engineering and mind control, he can create a new breed of human being, a race of super soldiers capable of ushering in a new era of order and control. He views Anya and the other subjects as nothing more than data points, tools to be used and discarded in his pursuit of scientific perfection. He has no empathy for their suffering, no regard for their humanity. To him, they are simply variables in an equation, pieces on a chessboard. He monitors Shaw's progress through the facility, his expression unchanging. He acknowledges Shaw's skill and determination, but he sees him as nothing more than a temporary obstacle, an insignificant inconvenience that will be dealt with in due time. He orders his security personnel to prioritize Anya's capture, knowing that she is the key to unlocking the full potential of his super soldier program. He intends to use her as leverage, to force Shaw to surrender and to continue his experiments without interference. He communicates with Shaw through the facility's public address system. His voice calm and measured, devoid of any emotion, he taunts Shaw, reminding him of his past failures, his broken promises, his inability to protect those he cares about. He reveals his plans for Anya, his intention to transform her into the ultimate weapon, a mindless killing machine programmed to obey his every command. He paints a picture of a dystopian future, a world ruled by his super soldiers, a world where freedom and individuality are nothing more than distant memories. He offers Shaw a choice: surrender and allow him to continue his work, or face the consequences. He warns Shaw that if he continues to resist, he will be forced to unleash his ultimate weapon, a genetically engineered monster that is even more powerful and ruthless than Subject 12. Dr. Volkov believes that he holds all the cards, that he is in control of the situation. He underestimates Shaw's determination, his unwavering commitment to rescuing Anya, and his willingness to sacrifice everything to stop him. He watches as Shaw continues to advance through the facility, his resolve unbroken, his determination unyielding. He realizes that he has underestimated his opponent. He knows that he must act quickly if he wants to salvage his plans. He prepares for the final confrontation, ready to unleash his ultimate weapon and crush Shaw once and for all. The game has moved beyond experimentation. Now, it's a battle for survival. Guided by his instincts and the faint traces of Anya's sabotage, Shaw navigates the chaotic corridors of the Blackwood Institute. His senses on high alert. He's close. He can feel it. He bursts through a reinforced door into a large laboratory, and there she is. Anya is battered and bruised, her clothes torn, but her spirit remains unbroken. She's surrounded by security personnel, their weapons trained on her, but she stands defiant, her eyes blazing with defiance. For a moment, time seems to stand still. Shaw and Anya lock eyes, recognizing each other instantly. A wave of relief washes over Anya's face, a flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. Shaw feels a surge of protectiveness, a renewed determination to get her out of this hellhole alive. But there's no time for sentimentality. The security personnel open fire, and the laboratory erupts in a hail of bullets. Shaw and Anya dive for cover, narrowly avoiding the deadly projectiles. They realize that they're trapped, surrounded by overwhelming force. They have no choice but to fight their way out, side by side, against waves of security personnel and enhanced subjects. Shaw takes the lead, his movements fluid and precise, his weapons blazing. He provides cover for Anya, allowing her to regroup and prepare for the fight. He's a whirlwind of destruction, cutting down his opponents with ruthless efficiency. Anya is no slouch either. Despite her weakened condition, she fights with a fierce determination, using her knowledge of the lab's layout and her understanding of the enemy's tactics to her advantage. She uses improvised weapons, scalpels, beakers, even the lab's own equipment to incapacitate her opponents. They fight as a team, their movements synchronized, their actions coordinated. They anticipate each other's moves, protecting each other's backs, working together to overcome the overwhelming odds. The security personnel are relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. They swarm Shaw and Anya, their weapons firing continuously. The laboratory is transformed into a battlefield, littered with broken glass, shattered equipment, and the bodies of fallen combatants. Enhanced subjects join the fray, their genetically engineered strength and resilience making them formidable opponents. Shaw and Anya are forced to adapt their tactics, using their wits and their skills to overcome these monstrous adversaries. They fight back to back, their movements a blur of motion, their weapons a symphony of destruction. They are a force to be reckoned with, a symbol of defiance in the face of overwhelming oppression. Despite the odds, they manage to hold their own, pushing back the enemy and creating a small pocket of safety. But they know that they can't stay here forever. They need to find a way to escape, to break free from the clutches of the Blackwood Institute. The connection between them is a tangible force, amplifying their strength and resolve. Their escape depends on it. Just as Shaw and Anya manage to create a small opening, a pathway to escape, the ground begins to tremble. A low, guttural growl echoes through the laboratory. a sound that sends shivers down their spines. The remaining security personnel step aside, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and awe. From the depths of the laboratory, a massive figure emerges. It's Subject Zero, Dr. Volkov's ultimate creation, a fully weaponized subject unlike anything Shaw has ever encountered. He's bigger, stronger, and more ruthless than Subject 12, a towering behemoth of muscle and aggression. Subject Zero is a Frankensteinian masterpiece of genetic engineering, a grotesque parody of a human being. His muscles bulge with unnatural strength, his skin is scarred and discolored, and his eyes glow with a cold, predatory intelligence. He moves with a terrifying speed and agility, his every step shaking the ground. Dr. Volkov's voice booms through the laboratory's speakers, his tone cold and triumphant. Behold, Subject Zero, the pinnacle of human evolution. He will crush you, Shaw, and then he will crush the world. Subject Zero lets out a deafening roar and charges at Shaw and Anya, his movements a blur of motion. This is the climax of the action, the ultimate test of Shaw's skills and determination. Shaw and Anya know that they can't defeat Subject Zero with conventional weapons. His enhanced strength and resilience make him virtually invulnerable. They need to use their wits and their skills to exploit his weaknesses, to turn the environment against him. They split up, using their agility and their knowledge of the lab's layout to evade Subject Zero's attacks. Shaw lures Subject Zero into a confined space, while Anya prepares a trap. Subject Zero smashes through walls, tears through equipment, and obliterates anything that stands in his way. He's a force of nature, an unstoppable juggernaut of destruction. Shaw and Anya lead Subject Zero on a chase through the laboratory, dodging his attacks and luring him closer to their trap. They use their teamwork and their coordination to keep him off balance, to exploit his weaknesses. They reach the trap, a series of high-voltage generators that Anya has rigged to overload. Shaw lures Subject Zero into the kill zone, and Anya activates the generators. A surge of electricity courses through Subject Zero's body, causing him to convulse and scream in agony. But he doesn't go down easily. He fights through the pain, his rage intensifying, his determination unwavering. The generators begin to overload, sparks flying, wires snapping. The laboratory is plunged into darkness, illuminated only by the flickering light of the dying generators. The fate of Shaw and Anya hangs in the balance. They are facing their greatest challenge yet, a monstrous creation that threatens to destroy everything they hold dear. Their survival depends on their ability to outwit and overcome Subject Zero, to break free from the clutches of the Blackwood Institute and expose their twisted operations to the world. The air crackles with energy, the silence broken only by the creatures. Pained roars and the hum of dying machinery. The overloaded generators sputter and die, plunging the laboratory into near darkness. Only emergency lights cast long, distorted shadows, creating an eerie and unsettling atmosphere. Subject Zero, though weakened, is far from defeated. He roars in fury, his eyes glowing with a menacing intensity. Shaw knows that he can't win a direct confrontation with Subject Zero. He needs to use his cunning and his knowledge of the lab to turn the environment against him. He remembers the blueprints he studied during his months of preparation, the intricate network of pipes, electrical conduits, and chemical storage tanks that run throughout the facility. He signals to Anya, and they split up, using their agility and their knowledge of the lab's layout to evade Subject Zero's attacks. Shaw lures Subject Zero deeper into the facility, leading him through a maze of corridors and research labs. He triggers explosions, releases toxic chemicals, and manipulates the lab systems to create obstacles and distractions. He's turning the Blackwood Institute against itself, using its own resources to fight its ultimate weapon. Anya provides support, disabling security systems, sabotaging equipment, and creating diversions that keep Subject Zero off balance. She's a master of improvisation, using her wits and her skills to exploit every weakness she can find. The battle is destructive, causing significant damage to the facility. Walls are torn down, equipment is shattered, and fires rage out of control. The Blackwood Institute is crumbling, its twisted experiments turning against it. Shaw leads Subject Zero into a chemical storage room, a room filled with volatile and highly flammable substances. He rigs the room with explosives, creating a massive trap He lures Subject Zero into the center of the room, and Anya activates the explosives. The room erupts in a massive fireball, engulfing Subject Zero in flames. The explosion shakes the entire facility, causing the walls to buckle and the ceiling to collapse. Shaw and Anya dive for cover, narrowly avoiding the blast. When the smoke clears, Subject Zero is still standing. Though severely burned and weakened, he roars in pain and rage, his body charred and smoking. Shaw knows that he has one last chance. He grabs a high-powered energy weapon from a nearby lab and aims it at Subject Zero's head. He fires, unleashing a blast of energy that pierces Subject Zero's skull. Subject Zero collapses, his body hitting the floor with a deafening crash. He lies still, unmoving. The Blackwood Institute's ultimate weapon has been defeated. But the battle is far from over. Dr. Volkov is still at large, and he's determined to salvage his twisted vision. Shaw and Anya know that they must find him and stop him before he can unleash his terror on the world. The facility is a ruin, a testament to their struggle, but their mission continues. Exhausted and wounded, Shaw stands over the fallen form of Subject Zero, the air thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burning chemicals. He turns to Anya, ready to finally get her out of this nightmare, but she's gone. Panic flares in his chest. He scans the ravaged laboratory, his eyes searching for any sign of her. Then he sees it. A trail of blood leading towards a hidden passage behind a collapsed wall. He knows that Dr. Volkov must be responsible. The cold, calculating scientist wouldn't abandon his twisted vision so easily. He would use Anya as leverage, as a bargaining chip, or as a test subject for further experiments. Shaw follows the trail of blood, his heart pounding in his chest. He reaches the hidden passage and finds himself in a network of underground tunnels, a secret escape route that Dr. Volkov had prepared in advance. He hears voices in the distance. Dr. Volkov's calm and measured tone mixed with Anya's defiant shouts. He quickens his pace, his determination renewed. He finds them in a small, makeshift laboratory, a hidden facility where Dr. Volkov had continued his experiments in secret. Anya is strapped to a table, her eyes filled with defiance. Dr. Volkov stands over her, a syringe filled with a mysterious liquid in his hand. "You're too late, Shaw," Dr. Volkov says, his voice devoid of any emotion. "I'm about to unlock Anya's full potential. She will become my ultimate weapon, a force that will reshape the world." Shaw lunges at Dr. Volkov, but the scientist is protected by two genetically enhanced guards, remnants of his super soldier program. They are fast and powerful, their movements precise and deadly. Shaw engages the guards in a brutal hand-to-hand combat. His body battered and bruised from his previous encounters, he fights with a desperate fury, fueled by his determination to rescue Anya. He uses his knowledge of martial arts to disarm and incapacitate the guards, breaking bones and shattering joints. With ruthless efficiency, he's a whirlwind of destruction, his every move calculated and deadly. He finally manages to break through the guards and reach Dr. Volkov. But the scientist is ready for him. He raises the syringe, preparing to inject Anya with the mysterious liquid. Shaw knows that he has to stop him, no matter the cost. He throws himself at Dr. Volkov, knocking the syringe from his hand. The syringe shatters on the floor, the liquid spilling across the tiles. Dr. Volkov stumbles backwards, his face contorted with rage. "You fool!" he screams. "You've ruined everything." He pulls out a pistol and aims it at Shaw's head. But before he can fire, Anya breaks free from her restraints. She kicks Dr. Volkov in the chest, sending him sprawling backwards. The pistol clatters to the floor, and Shaw grabs it. He points it at Dr. Volkov, his finger on the trigger. The confrontation has come full circle. Anya is safe, for now, but the final battle is about to begin. Shaw stands over Dr. Volkov, the pistol trained on his head. The scientist is cornered, his face a mask of fury and frustration. Anya, still weak but defiant, stands beside Shaw, her eyes fixed on Dr. Volkov. "It's over, Volkov," Shaw says, his voice cold and hard. "Your experiments are finished." Dr. Volkov scoffs. "You think you've won, Shaw? You've only delayed the inevitable. My work will continue, even if I'm not here to see it." He lunges for a nearby vial, a sample of the same mysterious liquid that he had intended to inject into Anya. He intends to destroy the sample, preventing Shaw from learning the secrets of his research. Shaw reacts instantly. He fires the pistol, the bullet striking Dr. Volkov in the arm. The vial falls to the floor and shatters, the liquid spilling across the tiles. Dr. Volkov clutches his wounded arm, his face contorted with pain. But he doesn't give up. He throws a nearby scalpel at Shaw, aiming for his throat. Shaw dodges the scalpel. His reflexes honed by years of combat, he closes the distance between himself and Dr. Volkov, engaging him in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. The fight is desperate, a battle of wits and strength. Dr. Volkov is a scientist, not a soldier, but he fights with a surprising ferocity, driven by his obsession with his work. Shaw uses his superior skills and his knowledge of martial arts to gain the upper hand. He blocks Dr. Volkov's attacks, countering with precise strikes to vulnerable areas. He disarms Dr. Volkov, throwing him against a wall. The scientist collapses to the floor, his body battered and bruised. Shaw stands over him, his chest heaving, his body trembling. He's exhausted, wounded, but he's still standing. He has defeated Dr. Volkov, bringing an end to his twisted experiments. "It's over, Volkov," Shaw says, his voice barely a whisper. "You're finished." He hesitates, his finger hovering over the trigger. He could end it all right here, right now, but he knows that killing Dr. Volkov wouldn't solve anything. That it wouldn't undo the damage he has caused. It wouldn't bring back the lives he has destroyed. He lowers the pistol, his decision made. "You're going to prison, Volkov," he says. "You're going to pay for what you've done." He turns to Anya, offering her his hand. "Let's get out of here," he says. "It's over." Anya takes his hand, her eyes filled with gratitude and relief. Together, they leave the hidden laboratory, leaving Dr. Volkov to face the consequences of his actions. The Blackwood Institute has been exposed, its secrets revealed, its operations shut down. Anya is safe, rescued from the clutches of Dr. Volkov. Their ordeal is over. The silence is broken only by their footsteps. Walking away from the nightmare, A.S. Shaw and Anya leave the hidden laboratory. They hear a series of alarms blaring throughout the Blackwood Institute. The facility is going into lockdown, and a self-destruct sequence has been initiated. Shaw knows that they have to get out of there, and fast. The Blackwood Institute is about to become a tomb, burying all of its secrets and its twisted experiments beneath tons of rubble. He grabs Anya's hand, and they race through the corridors, their movements swift and precise. They navigate the labyrinthine hallways, dodging falling debris and avoiding pockets of fire. The facility is collapsing around them, the walls buckling, the ceiling caving in. The air is thick with smoke and dust, making it difficult to see and breathe. They reach the main entrance, the same entrance that Shaw had breached earlier in the night. The door is partially blocked by debris, but Shaw uses his strength to force it open. They emerge from the Blackwood Institute just as the entire facility implodes, collapsing in on itself in a massive explosion. The ground shakes beneath their feet, and a shockwave washes over them. They watch as the Blackwood Institute is reduced to rubble, its twisted experiments brought to a fiery end. The Black Ops operation is in ruins, its secrets buried forever. Shaw and Anya stand side by side, silhouetted against the flames. They are exhausted, wounded, but they are alive. They have survived the nightmare, and they have emerged stronger than before. The sound of sirens fills the air as emergency vehicles converge on the scene. The authorities will soon arrive to investigate the destruction and to take Dr. Volkov into custody. Shaw knows that their ordeal is far from over. They will have to face the authorities, to explain what happened at the Blackwood Institute, to expose the truth to the world. But for now, they are safe. They have escaped the clutches of Dr. Volkov, and they have brought an end to his twisted experiments. They have destroyed the Blackwood Institute, leaving the Black Ops operation in ruins. They turn and walk away from the destruction, their footsteps echoing in the night. They are heading towards an uncertain future, but they are together. They have faced the darkness, and they have emerged into the light. The dawn is breaking, promising a new beginning, a chance to rebuild their lives and to heal their wounds. The destruction behind them is a pyre, burning away the past and clearing the path forward. The final scene unfolds in a remote cabin nestled deep within the Chechen mountains, the snow-covered peaks echoing Anya's childhood. The scene is peaceful, serene, a stark contrast to the horrors they have endured. Shaw sits by a crackling fireplace, cleaning his weapons, his movements precise and economical. He's a man of action, not words, but his presence provides a sense of security and stability. Anya stands by the window, gazing out at the snow-covered landscape. She's still recovering from the experiments, both physically and emotionally. The scars of the Blackwood Institute are deep, but she's determined to heal, to rebuild her life. They don't talk much, but there's an unspoken understanding between them. They have been through hell together, and they have emerged stronger because of it. They are connected by a bond that cannot be broken. Anya turns to Shaw, her eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and concern. "What will you do now?" she asks. Shaw shrugs. "I'll keep fighting," he says. "There are other Blackwood Institutes out there, other twisted experiments waiting to be exposed." He's a soldier, a protector, a guardian. He can't turn a blind eye to the evil in the world. He has to keep fighting, to keep defending the innocent. Anya nods, understanding his commitment, but she's also worried about him. She knows that he's carrying a heavy burden, the weight of his past mistakes and the responsibility of his current mission. "What about you?" Shaw asks, turning his gaze to Anya. "What will you do?" Anya smiles, a faint but genuine smile. "I don't know," she says, "but I'll find a way to use what I've learned, to make a difference in the world." She's not sure what the future holds, but she's determined to face it with courage and